Yeah, man. My name's Kevin Christian, and I want to explain the different types of torture and attacks that come from EMF broadcasts and remote neural monitoring. Um, I've been on remote neural monitoring for at least 6 years that I know of, and I've been targeted heavily for close to 5 years, and I've experienced pretty much everything that people talk about. So, some people talk about it differently than others, and I believe that different people have different thresholds for levels of pain, and different people are in different health situations where they may be affected differently by the same thing. So, let me just give you the basic, okay? A lot of people are very confused about how this all works. And they swear that there is a guy hiding in the neighbor's attic with a microwave gun, and that's not the case. Okay? They think that people have handheld devices that they can use, like their phone has some kind of weapon built into it, and that's also not true. Um, in general, as a general rule, you can know that people in public that you see around are not the ones doing this and the ones using uh, these broadcast systems to attack you. And I know that because in order to attack somebody, you have to be on broadcast. You have to be on a mind control headset, living as a broadcast to attack someone. You're being attacked with broadcast. It's called EMF broadcast. It's from remote neural monitoring. And what you have is gang stalkers that are on neural monitoring, the same as you are, but they have access to the neural monitoring on the internet, and they can control their own settings and their own level of involvement, and they can control their broadcast settings, that they can connect to you unconsensually, and they can use their broadcast to attack you. And that's really what's going on. And they can go all into your flesh and do a lot of different things to make things seem all kinds of crazy. They can make little vibrations in your body, and heat and pain, and all sorts of things that feel like shocks, and or just like an ongoing type of torture. There's a lot of things that they can do with broadcast, and a lot of people perceive it differently. But you have to remember that, for one, they know what you're thinking. So say you're at the gas station and you look over and somebody's pumping their gas and they got their phone in their hand, and it looks like something suspicious because you're hyper aware of every detail going on because you're going through this situation. So you're on the lookout for everything, right? And it looks like they might have looked at their phone, or you think they're on some kind of neural monitoring site right there, and they looks like they pointed their phone at you. Right? You just thought about all of that. So these gang stalkers know what you're thinking. They're connected to you. They're wearing a mind control headset, and they're receiving every active thought process in your mind right into their mind. So when they know it in their mind. They know it in their mind, like somebody with a psychic ability. They are receiving you. They're receiving, and when I say you, every thing that your mind is processing. Right? If your butt itches, if you feel like wiggling your toe, if you just thought about if the mailman's came yet, and what time you got to be at work, and what you're cooking for dinner. All right, they know all of those thoughts that you just had. Now, they don't know your memories unless you think of them. They only know your active thought process. But if you suspect that this person over here pumping gas has pointed their phone at you, they're going to take that opportunity to go ahead and attack you with their broadcast. Okay, and when they do that, it's going to solidify your suspicion. Oh yeah, that's a perp over there. Look at this perp. Here you are taking pictures of some stranger's license plate that was just pumping their gas. They're not attacking you, right? Because they're not wearing a mind control headset. They're not living as a broadcast, and they're just a person out in the world like you. Now, there can be a bunch of people involved and following you around and doing things, whatever, following you around. That's part of the scheme, the street theater. But these people are all networking together to make this happen. And somebody is connected to you on that mind control. And they're all giving each other updates, talking to each other with artificial telepathy. There's no record of this communication. They don't have to make a phone call to each other. All right, nobody's giving them gift cards. If they're making money, it's because they're doing live streams of the really EMF broadcast. Live streams is what it's really all about. As far as like the street theater and all that stuff, that's just extra stuff that happens sometimes when when they've got somebody really acting crazy, like calling the police and trying to escape town and thinking that everybody's in on it. They'll have some people, coming around and stuff like that. But there are people that are involved too. They're going to go right back home and get on the mind control headset. And that's what, but whoever's attacking you, if you're under attack, whoever's attacking you is definitely sitting somewhere privately on a mind control headset. They're not somebody pumping gas on a cell phone, aiming it at you or whatever. Everybody was on their cell phone before. You just noticed it now because you're acting really suspicious and paranoid. You're acting paranoid. And understandably so, because all of these things, these incredible things that are so unbelievable because you don't believe that they're possible and you've never experienced that. So your mind is trying to make up some reason, some possible way that this is happening. So you start to conclude all sorts of things. But that's the tricky part of this technology, is that they know what you're thinking and they can use they can use your thoughts and your suspicions against you. And if you think that, so you have to know the basic rules. The basic rule is whoever's attacking you is on broadcast. And to be on broadcast, you got to be on a mind control headset. And to be on a mind control headset in that subconscious catatonic state that it puts them in, you ain't in public. They're not in public. The ones that are in public are not the ones attacking you, if they're even involved at all. And they may or may not be. So just be careful about the running around taking pictures of people's tag numbers and all of this type of stuff. Now, as far as the attacks, let's get into that. So with the broadcast, all right, I'll just tell you the basics. If somebody is connected to you on neural monitoring, okay, so I'm on neural monitoring and you're on neural monitoring. All right, so we could connect to each other. And that would put a broadcast on you from me and a broadcast on me from you. It's a broadcast. It could put it on you. They call it a monitor. Or for slang, I know it's silly, okay? But for slang, they call it like little people. They're little people because they can have a little broadcast on you. All right, now obviously if I allow you, if I have access to neural monitoring, my own neural monitoring, which I don't, so they can use it as a weapon against me because I can't stop them. I can't go on my neural monitoring and say, hey, what did you just attack me? Let me eject you. We're disconnected now. Let me eject your monitor off of me, your broadcast off of me. And that's what they would do in a normal circumstance. So they could do stuff to each other theoretically, but obviously, if you want to have a broadcast on somebody, be connected to somebody, you're not going to be attacking them, or they would just promptly eject your broadcast, disconnect from you on their settings, and that would be it. You would no longer be able to attack that person. So a gang stalker cannot be attacked with neural monitoring because they have access to neural monitoring. So these people talking about ex-gang stalker now being gang stalked and all this stuff, it's just propaganda. All right, because it's not even how it works. It's not how it works at all. And we're not supposed to know that. We're not supposed to know how it works. But I'm here telling you how it all works. So, if they have their monitor on you, they can use that monitor to attack you. All right, so now that's not the only way, but we'll talk about that for a minute. With that monitor that's on you, okay, they can move around your body. They can connect to that monitor and live as that broadcast. So just like they would live as like a hologram standing next to you, which would be another way that they could attack you. But with that monitor, they can move around your body. They can go into your body. They could go right through your body. So when they're attacking your heart, You know, a lot of people talk about their heart being attacked, or when they're doing stuff to your ears, your inner ears, or going in your mouth where you taste the broadcast, or going into your eyes, or doing all kinds of stuff like that on your body. That's them with that monitor just torturing you, going into your flesh with that microwave broadcast that they're living as. And as bizarre as it seems, I promise you that that is the truth. All right. Now, that's not the only way that they can attack you. They could also broadcast a hologram and live as a hologram, which is pretty much the same thing. Like with that monitor could come up off of you and stand up, you know, and become a 3D hologram type of broadcast rather than just something on a flat surface. So a broadcast, it could be standing up next to you as like a 3D hologram, or it could just lay flat on a wall. Okay, it's not bound by the physical laws of physics, the physical limitations that a human would have. It's a broadcast, so it could do whatever. If it wants to grow, you know, and I don't know how they could just think it, or if they have to control settings or what. If it wants to grow to 10 feet tall, it can. If it wants to be this big, it can. Okay. Now, if a hologram person is standing next to you, a broadcast, and they want to beam you with something, which is also a broadcast, they can do that. So you could have literally a hologram person standing next to you, which is a broadcast, and they could be hitting you with a laser gun, which would feel like the little stings, like little bee stings or something like that, and which is also a broadcast. So they could be doing that. There's not really a lot of limitations. If they want to decide to have little wings and hover around next to you like a little bumblebee, they could do that. All right, it's a broadcast, so it's all settings. If you know, I've seen a broadcast on roller skates do 75 miles per hour up my street. Okay, they can do what they want to. I've seen a broadcast fly. I've seen a broadcast that was this big, and I've seen a broadcast walking up the street holding on to the power line about 15, 20 feet tall. All right, I've seen all of that. And so it's really just a matter of how they choose to do it or whatever. I think when you have a really big broadcast, it needs some extra power source. So I think maybe that's why when I see the 15-foot, 20-foot broadcast, they're holding on to a power line. All right. I've also seen full-size, human-sized broadcasts use light like they were recharging or something, like to use like a light bulb as if like it was recharging them or something. Maybe it helps to give the broadcast more power. I just don't know the specifics of all of that. I just know the existence of all of that. Okay. And those are the ways that they attack you. You know, they can also attack you with the sound part of it. The artificial telepathy is an attack in general. Psychologically, for sure, it's a form of mind control. You tend to want to talk along with them. You're receiving them, and you may not consent to that, which I don't, and targeted people don't. But you know, they'll connect to each other consensually, so they choose that though. So that's on them. But personally, I don't consent to any of this, but they connect to me anyway, even though I don't consent to it, and I have to listen to them all day. They can also use artificial telepathy to hurt you. They can put a sound directly on your eardrum, like they do this chirp sound on my eardrum is damaging to your hearing. They can do that. A lot of people have talked about how they make their bed vibrate. Now, I haven't really had them make my bed vibrate, but one thing that they do all the time is make it seem like I've had them make it seem like my phone is vibrating in my pocket when my phone wasn't even in my pocket. So, and I think that's their mistake. Like they didn't realize my phone wasn't in my pocket. So I'll be like, I'll go to check, but my phone ain't even in there. And I'm like, you know, eventually I realized that they can do that with broadcasts, that they're doing that, and that's what's going on. But, you know, they can go all into your bones and into your organs and cause, problems and pain in your heart and a lot of pain in your bony areas. The bones are really painful. They can go all into your genital area with broadcast and attack you there. They could rape a human with their broadcast. And to the human, it's just like you're being assaulted with the microwaves. But I can understand why people think that it's microwave weapons or direct energy weapons. And in a sense, it is, but the satellite is the weapon. All right. But the person on the trigger is the gang stalker accessing these satellite broadcast settings online on the neural monitoring site. And they're connected to the broadcast on their mind control headset, living as broadcast and attacking humans. And that's really what's going on. And you're not going to find these degenerates running around with some kind of microwave beam weapon. And I know some of you will argue with me for the rest of your life about that. But I'm going to stand firm. I know how they operate. I know what they're using. I know what they do. And they're sitting at home on their mind control headset. They could be next door, or they could be 10 blocks up the road, or they could be somewhere far away. They can attack you with broadcast from somewhere else. They don't have to be near you, and they don't have to have a physical device. They're just using settings as broadcast to do that. So one more thing. As far as the telepathy, this system is the way it's designed. It can be very tricky. So if you think that, you say you live in an apartment and you hear a lot of stuff coming from through the wall, like the neighbor, okay? And it may be the neighbor, but there's a good chance that it's not. Even if you hear their voice, seemingly, there's a strong possibility that these gang stalkers could also put your neighbor on remote neural monitoring and use their voice as a setting. But if they want to make it seem like that noise is coming through the wall, they can make thump noises on the wall and thumps on the ceiling. They can do whatever kind of noises they want to with artificial telepathy. And it can be very deceptive as far as trying to figure out what's really going on. So they can make it sound like somebody's running across your roof. They can make it sound like it's your neighbors, and it can really be very confusing. And as far as trying to figure out, what's going on, and a lot of people have the wrong idea about who's gang stalking them and what's really going on, because they don't understand the possibilities with being able to deceive you with artificial telepathy. They can make it seem like they're somewhere different, with artificial telepathy. They can make it sound like they're, out front, when really they're somewhere else. But they could do a lot of things. So really the possibilities are endless, and the fact that they can know what you think makes them able to capitalize on your suspicions to make it even more confusing. And a targeted person may become very certain that they know exactly what's going on. And I know a lot of people are probably thinking, well, how do you know for sure what's going on? But I know for sure what's going on because I've caught people in real life doing this stuff, and I knew some of these people, and I've been dealing with these same people for 5 years at least that I know of. All right, and they've made a lot of mistakes, and I've been able to figure out a lot of stuff. I still don't know everything, but I probably know more than most anybody else. So I'm trying to spread that knowledge to you guys, and I do what I can. I do what I can to get the truth out there. But a lot of people become very certain that they know that it's, somebody just because they heard their voice, or it seems like the noise is coming through that wall or something like that, when in reality, they just don't understand how artificial telepathy works. And if they did, they could really use those facts and circumstances to possibly discount what they may believe. And, that's something that people don't want to have to do, is to reevaluate their belief system. But with this technology, you have to do that. You have to reevaluate everything all the time. And you have to use everything at your disposal. So that's my advice and my explanations of how this works and what they're doing and how they're attacking you and some of the things to look out for and to understand. So I hope that helps you guys out. Hit me up if you got some questions. I'm reachable. My name's Kevin Christian. I appreciate you guys watching.